It's August 14th. In today's reading, we see that only after 3 months as king of Judah, Jehoiachin is deposed by Nebuchadnezzar, and one of his relatives, Zedekiah, is installed as the new king of Judah. Jeremiah's message to the new king is direct. The Babylonian retreat is temporary. Judgment is indeed coming soon. Jerusalem will be burned to the ground. Zedekiah's response in Jeremiah chapters 36 and 12 and 13 is that he did that which was evil in Yahweh, his God's sight. He didn't humble himself before Jeremiah, the prophet, speaking from Yahweh's mouth. This passage reads like so many we've read before. Yet another king refusing to humble himself before God. And what we've been reading since June 8th of events taking place for about 350 years has been a long, extended drift away from God. Since Solomon's death, a pattern or cycle has emerged. A cycle of blessing, a drift toward disobedience, warning, judgment, repentance, and mercy, etc. This pattern offers great clarity into God's desires and his treatment of both individuals and nations. We also see how cultures erode, that it happens little by little over time. One generation adopts compromising philosophies and then questionable practices. And in the next generation, those become the norm, and the next generation moves further away. God reveals himself afresh to each generation, but hearts become hard, standards change, and ultimately people have more affinity with the culture than with God and his desires. Reading these passages is a bit like reading today's headlines. As modern culture in the West slides further away from allegiance to and reliance upon God, it is critical that we, those of us who follow Jesus, are absolutely committed to live with God's greater purposes in mind. Life is not about our own personal affluence and security, and being overly concerned with fitting into the culture is not healthy. Our lives as believers should focus on God's greater purposes and mission. Regardless of what's trendy or what our neighbors do, he wants us to live according to his values. His priorities for the nations and for the church around the world should be our priorities. Here's today's application. How influenced are you by the popular trends, fashions, or the opinions of others? Do these have a disproportionate influence in your life? Or do these things have the appropriate degree of impact upon your thoughts, attitudes, and actions? Take a moment and ponder that question today. Now here's today's prayer.